Good morning. It's coming up to 5 to 7 on Wednesday the 4th of November and I'm just setting off on a 200km DIY audax. This will be my first long ride since July the 31st into August the 1st, my 600km DIY. So why is that? I got home within the time allowance. I was quite tired and I was quite hot, but I was actually quite pleased with how it went. I was in bed by about 11:30. And then about 1 o'clock in the morning I woke up with a really bad toothache. It had been playing up on and off over the summer because of the lockdown. I hadn't had a chance to get to the dentist. Cut long story short, by about 2 o'clock in the morning I was rolling around the bathroom floor in agony and my wife rang up 111 to get some advice just to see if I could take more medication because the paracetamols weren't working. The short story is it took me about 4 weeks to get to a dentist, have the correct diagnosis, and in the end had to have a tooth taken out where the root canal had failed and also a wisdom tooth. So all during the last few months I've been trying to stay as close to home as possible. So England is going into lockdown tomorrow from November the 5th. I think it's till December the 2nd. I do plan to get out exercising once a day. It'll either be walking or very short bike rides. I'm in the lucky position that I've got a gymnasium at home I built up in the last year or so. So I've got a running machine, a rowing machine, a bike permanently set up on a turbo trainer. And I've also got a mat to do back exercises with a foam roller. Anyway, that's what's been happening in my life the last few months. I'm quite keen to start doing the long distances again. I'm keen to be on my way. It's actually quite cold, first frost of the year. I'm just about to join the Two Tunnels Greenway. I'll talk more to you about the route on my way down towards Salisbury. Now 8:30, still very misty, although the mist is starting to rise. It looks like it's going to be quite a nice day. I've just crossed that busy road. I think it's the A350 coming into Warminster. I've stopped here just for a snack and also to give my Garmin a charge. I got a battery low alarm within 4 miles of leaving Bath. That's what happens in the winter. That's one of the strategies I have to use in the winter really, is to utilise these stops. So I'll have a bit of a snack here, just get organised and give my Garmin about a 10-minute charge. I calculate my time allowance, although it was done for me on this ride, 14 hours and 3 minutes, say 14 hours. I know I left home at 10 to 7, so my maximum time allowance I've got is till about 10 to 9 tonight. And so I can use the Garmin to aid me. It's already estimating I'm going to finish about 5:30 tonight. I think that's very ambitious. I don't even care if I run out of time on this one. This really is just to get my first 200 under my belt for several months. I just want to finish. So my main goal is to get round. A secondary goal is to get round within the time allowance. I hope I do, but I won't be too disappointed if I don't. I'm in the Wylye Valley now. It's very sunny. And here's another one of the techniques I use a lot, mini goal setting. My Garmin has just clicked from 100 miles to go to 99 miles remaining, and I always get a bit of a hit from that, and I use that one a lot. It's now 9:30 and the mist has lifted, it's warming up, it's turning into a gorgeous November autumn day. I left Bath heading south-eastish down towards Salisbury, following the Wylye Valley, and I'm just turned right in the village of Wylye, and I'm taking this steep climb up over into the Chalk Valley, and I'm going to turn right at the bottom when I descend, head towards Gillingham, Bruton, Glastonbury, where I'll be in the Brue Valley. And then later this afternoon, probably around dusk, I'll be climbing up towards Bristol Airport at Rington, dropping down to the Chew Valley. I've called this ride Wylye, Brue Chew. I know it's not very original, I just couldn't think of anything more creative. and it fits the purpose for today really. It's just what I call a bread and butter 200. It's pretty easy to navigate. There's nothing really strenuous apart from the 3 big climbs crossing the valleys, and this is one of them. Fantastic views looking back. It suits today's purpose really well because it's ideal for a winter ride, because although it's 200 kilometers, 124.8 miles, it never really goes that far from Bath, and it also passes through a few towns where I can hop on a train if things did turn bad in the middle of the winter. You can see I'm on my winter bike, the Caribou 26-inch wheel straight handlebar hybrid. The reason I like that is because this morning was a perfect example. There's quite a heavy frost last night and it was a little bit slippery in places with the fallen leaves and the wet roads. I just feel so much safer on that during the winter. It feels much safer, say, going in the dark when you sort of hit obstacles you don't always see. I'll give you an example. Last year, one of my first winter DIYs, when I was riding in the dark with lights, and probably rush hour at past 5-6 o'clock, I was on the outskirts of Trowbridge somewhere, and there was a chicane where the road had been singled for roadworks, and I was at the head of a queue of traffic. Of course, when it went green, I felt under pressure to ride really fast through it. It's only a few hundred yards, and I hit an obstacle. I don't know what it was, and I nearly went flying, and I can't say for sure, but my gut instinct is if I was on dropped handlebars with narrow tyres, I'd have probably gone down, and heaven knows what would have happened with the cars behind me. So it just makes me feel safer. Nearing the summit now. So you'll see that amazing view behind me. I love it up here. About the bike then. So although I feel safer on this one, it's clearly harder work and it's going to make winter riding slower. But I've just got used to that over the years. But I think today, with me being a bit out of condition, it's probably going to be a factor in the result of whether I get round within the time allowance or not. Next stop, Gillingham. I'll probably stop there, give my Garmin a charge, have a sandwich. I've got all the disinfectant hand wipes and hand gel sanitizer. I shouldn't need to go in shops. If I do, I'm wearing a neck ruff, which is just easy to put up over my mouth and my nose. In fact, I'm doing that sometimes on the road, just passing people. It's now 20 to 12 and I've just stopped at Gillingham. I've got 75 miles to go, which means I've done about 50 miles so far. I'm actually feeling alright at the moment. So I'm going to have a bite to eat here. It's a bit of an early lunch, but the reason really being is I got another Garmin alarm battery low, so I want to give it a really good top up here. What I found with mine is it will lose its charge quite quickly in cold weather. As soon as it warms up, or even when the seasons change, but in the winter, once the temperature rises during the day, it will hold its charge. But as I said earlier on, I got a battery low alarm round about 4 miles into the ride. Tomorrow, the month-long lockdown starts, and I've been thinking about how I'm going to spend my time. So here are my thoughts. A few years ago, I started taking part in Red January, and it's a scheme to promote people to either run or ride or do some sort of form of exercise every day during the month of January, because quite often that's when people lose their mojo. And the reason I really did it was because I'm a huge fan of Kelly Holmes. I just find her really inspirational, and she asked her followers to do it, and so I did it. I did exercise every day, run or ran, and then I donated £31, 31 days in January. I donated £31 to her chosen charity, which is Mind. I've done that 2 years on the trot now, and I just found it a win-win situation. You motivate other people, certainly motivate myself to get on the turbo trainer when I sometimes, to be honest, don't feel like it, and you end up at the end of January feeling pretty pleased with yourself. Also, it's satisfying to donate to a worthy cause, and I just felt so fit, it set me up for the year. So, as I said, win-win-win. So I'm going to apply that to November. I've already started. I'm doing either turbo training, a rowing machine session, the treadmill, or today my bike, and I will go out and do daily exercise during the lockdown. It may just be a short ride, or it may be a walk with my wife. And I thought I'd mirror the principle of Red January as well and make a donation. Rather than a charity, it's going to be to a not-for-profit organisation that offers free education to anybody, anywhere in the world, breaks down the barriers. It's called Khan Academy. So I'll either put £1 away every day, or probably what I'll do is try and work out how much I've saved by not going out during November, all the food and drink money I would normally have spent, and donate that at the end of the month. I'm now on the second big ascent of the day, from Gillingham across to Bruton into the Brue Valley. The main road from Gillingham to Bruton and Mere and Wincanton is just over that way. It's over to my right, and when you've climbed up from Bruton, it's lovely. It's a fantastic fast ascent. Coming this way, it's not as nice because it's quite a grind, and although it's not over busy, you get a fair bit of traffic up behind you. So this network of roads takes you up to the same summit, Tinker's Hill, where we cross over, or under rather, the A303 before the drop down to Bruton. But it's not exactly traffic free, but it's very, very quiet. Really hope you're enjoying this as much as I am riding it, actually. If you do, please consider subscribing if you haven't done already. It means so much to me. I'm on 491 subscribers at the moment, and it'd be really nice to pass the 500 mark. Just press subscribe right below this video, and if you want updates when a new one gets released, hit the bell symbol and they ping through automatically. My next video, I'm gonna try and explain how I've overcome my reluctance to do long turbo trainer sessions, and a hack that I've used. Again, I learned it from a very clever lady in a completely different domain, and suddenly spotted the similarity to my reluctance or procrastination. And like a lot of things, once you understand the reason why, you think, God, that makes so much sense, why I'd never thought of that before. And there's a really neat little trick that I'll show you next video about how I now overcome it. And as so often happens, it's like two buses coming along at once. Once you discover the solution for a problem, a second one pops up almost instantly. That's exactly what's happened, which reinforces why I now find why getting on a turbo trainer is so easy. So I'll share that with you in the next video. I think it's going to come in really handy in the next months of lockdown as well. Anyway, next stop, Bruton. Just coming into the outskirts of Bruton with its very distinctive tower with those sharp gable ends with no roof. It's quite a landmark from a long way away. Time wise, it's coming up to 1 PM, so I'm about 6 hours into the ride. I'm almost halfway, so 6 hours out of 14, round about halfway, sort of doing all right for time. I may flag later on, I'm half expecting it will, so I'm definitely holding something back. It's now 1:30 and I'm in deepest, darkest Somerset in the village of Ditcheat. It's about 8 miles before I get to Glastonbury, and this is better known for its world-class racing stables, and you'll often see groups of racehorses being exercised along the main streets. But I've got to show this, St Mary Magdalene Church, and another view from under the gatehouse. I can't really go in because of COVID restrictions. I'm really very reluctant to stop and touch anything. Plus the fact I don't really have the time, but even if I don't stop here, I always give this a really good glance as I go by. It's just a stunning place. On these lovely roads into the back of Glastonbury, it's one of my favourite spots. Avalon Organic Vineyard. Pass that so many times every season, pretty much every hour of the night and day. It's 2:20 now and I'm on these lovely lanes running into Glastonbury. You can see not far from Glastonbury, start getting really good views of the Tor. been quite wet recently, and I was actually going to go off camping tonight and come back tomorrow, but that's not really possible because of the lockdown. I was going to camp up on the banks of the River Severn up near Framelode, just below Gloucester. There's a meander up there that I quite fancy. And also, because I knew I'd be starting my audax season in November, I actually booked a travel lodge. I got a real bargain, well I thought I had, £22.99 for Southampton, middle of this month. I was going to do an extended route down there to make it into a 200km DIY, and then just come back pretty much straight, about half the distance the next day. Clearly that's not possible now, but I'm going to rearrange it maybe for soon after Christmas, January, early February. Here's the final stretch into Glastonbury alongside the River Brue. You can see we're very close now. You may just see the lorries going up that really steep hill. That's a swine to cycle up when you're tired. Then right below Glastonbury Tor. Oh yeah, another cyclist. See all the travellers along here. There's quite a few of these vans. I actually like seeing it. Then just as this road starts to climb up that steep hill to where the houses are by the main road, you turn left, you go to a house in estate and cut even that hill out. It's fantastic, this road. Final approach to Glastonbury Tor. Look at all the people up there, there's loads. I'm now in Glastonbury High Street. Well, it's actually Magdalen Street. Just sat on the steps of the town hall, having a sandwich and a drink, give my Garmin a charge. It's a bit hippy dippy here, but I don't say that sardonically. I actually really like the atmosphere here. Time to press on now. It's going to go up to the monument there, fork off to the left, head out towards Mere. 49 miles to go. That means I've done 76. Feeling okay actually. Doing alright for time I think as well. So press on, and I guess another 2.5 hours and it'll be dark. I'm on this fantastic section of the Somerset levels. I can never remember which moor this is. But you've got a green either side. You can see the flooding in the fields. And right in the far distance, that lump is Brent Knoll. Very close to Weston-super-Mare and Burnham-on-Sea. The sun is now quite low. It's probably about an hour from setting. Absolutely stunning along here. It's now 4:25 and running right along the foot of the Mendip Hills. You can see how they're catching the colours of the sinking sun reflecting in a window there. The temperature's starting to drop, but wow, these colours are stunning. 20 to 5 and the sun's just sank behind the Quantock Hills in the distance. There's a very distinctive Brent Knoll. You can hear the roar of the motorway and see all the traffic going up in the far distance. It's now 5 PM. I'm at very busy Winscombe. I'm just outside the co-op, not going in. The reason I stopped is to dig out my head torch and put that on ready for the dusk section. It's now 5 to 6 and I've just stopped at Rington. I just needed a little bit of sugary energy. I've got myself a fizzy soft drink and a bar of chocolate. It's a lovely village nestled down below the hills that form Bristol Airport, Lowesgate. I'm heading up there shortly. That takes me up past Rington Garden Centre, up to Red Hill. Very short stretch on the busy A38, heading towards Bristol Airport. But before you get there, literally after a few hundred yards, you turn right on a series of lanes. So this is the last of my really 3 big climbs today. Heading up, and then I'll be dropping down into the Chew Valley. Time-wise and distance-wise, I think my Garmin's, just before I plugged it into charge, says 23 miles to go, and it's 5 to 6, and that gives me almost 3 hours to do 23 miles, so barring accidents and being ill and just completely blowing up, I should manage it in time. It's now 20 past 7, so I've got 20 past 8, about hour and a half, 11 miles to go. I'm just coming up to crossing the A37 at Whitchurch. I'm just passing this garden centre with all these amazing Christmas decorations, and they've also illuminated the tree. I use things like that to really give me a lift in the winter, and quite often you'll find they're still up right the way through January, so you really can use things like that to give you a mental lift. In the background there's fireworks going off everywhere. It's not just the odd one or two early ones, and I suddenly realised people are using tonight as bonfire night. It's November the 4th, but because of the lockdown tomorrow, I think they're using this opportunity to make it bonfire night, so that's quite nice. About an hour left to go, hour and a half time allowance left. That's just right for me these days. I'm back at my start point, literally about 200 or 300 yards from home. It's all downhill. 24 minutes past 8, so I'm back within, I've got about 20 minutes of my time allowance left. That's actually fine for me. I got round in one piece, actually quite enjoyed it, and also got round within the time allowance. I'm going to sign off now. Gonna thank you very much for watching if you got this far, and till next time, in the meantime, look out for each other everybody. Take care, see you soon.